Hi, guys, and welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia, and I am coming to you as every week from Munich in the south of Germany. Today is Saturday, it's the 30th of November 2009. 2009? No, it isn't. 2019. Do you know that thing when you talk and you're already thinking about the next thing that you're going to talk about? And I was totally thinking about Christmas. I'm just all about Christmas. I'm so sorry. I'm just ridiculously excited about the holidays, and tomorrow is December 1st, which means we get to open our advent calendars if you have any. I don't have any yarn ones. I've never had a yarn advent calendar actually, but I have chocolate, and yeah, basically my life at the moment is just full of eating like Christmas biscuits and gingerbread and lighting candles and anyways, this is not a Christmas podcast. This is theoretically and practically a knitting podcast. So we shall talk about some knitting today. I have no finished objects. I don't know what happened there. I feel like I'm missing something, but I don't think I am. But I have 6 works in progress. I'm going to show you all of my whips this week. Actually, I'm lying. I have one hibernating whip and I have a couple of blankets. But I'm showing you all of my active works in progress this week. No shame. I will say in advance that I may not talk about all of them in great detail just because you've seen them all before. So if you have any need for further information, as per usual, I will link my project pages right underneath this video. So you can just click on the projects on Ravelry and find out more about needle size, yarn, colorways, modifications, all of the things that I may not talk in detail about today. And after the whole whip parade, I have a tiny bit of acquisitions and possibly some life in general, and we'll just see how it goes. So before we get started, just a quick reminder that you can of course also join our Ravelry group. We have 2 informal knit-alongs going at the moment. One is the West Knits knit-along, so any or all Stephen West patterns, West Knits patterns can go in there. And we also have the One Ball with Love Cal, which was a really old knit-along with the goal of knitting socks out of commercial balls of sock yarn, like all the self-patterning, Regia, Opal, all of those can go in there. So those are just very informal. I just keep them open because people seem to be interested in checking in every now and then. But I am taking a break from proper knit-alongs with prizes and all of that. So yeah, that is that. So let's just talk about some works in progress. I'm totally overheating, by the way, in my sweater. It's freezing cold outside. It's supposed to snow tomorrow. Maybe it will. Who knows? That would be amazing. But I just cleaned my entire apartment because our tenants are coming around later today. So I'm overheating in my sweater. This is one of Jennifer Steingass's designs. I'm 80% sure it's the Arata sweater, but it may not be because I knit quite a lot of her designs and I tend to get them mixed up. But again, you will find them in my project pages, and this version is knit out of yarn from Pickles, which is a Norwegian yarn store. I got the yarn from there last year. It's their Pure Merino, I think, which is a non-superwash wool, and it's just really fantastic for color work. And I haven't actually worn this very much, but I do like it now that I'm wearing it. It fits really nicely. The only thing is that my sleeves are kind of short because I ran out of yarn, as I always do, because I played Yarn Chicken and lost, as I always do. So it's maybe not the most practical sweater, but I do actually really like it. Anyways, I have no coffee today. So sad. I'm already missing it. But let's just get started with some works in progress. And I'm just going to jump the gun and show you the thing that is most exciting to me. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I forgot one of the mittens. Oh no. Alright, be right back. So I already kind of told you what this is all about. The other day, I just was feeling... I don't even want to say under the weather. I was just kind of sick of all of my knitting projects and feeling a little bit emotional, as you do every now and then. And what I did is I went on a pattern buying binge and just got a lot of patterns that I've been wanting for a while off Ravelry. Supported some designers, and I decided I really just feel like knitting some colorwork mittens, which never really happens. And the original idea was to knit some mittens as gifts, but then I ended up choosing a pattern with a very small gauge and small needles and small yarn, and I decided I don't even really like mittens, so if I do make mittens, I will make them for myself. Selfish knitter, here we go. So the pattern that I'm talking about is one that I've been eyeing up ever since it came out, maybe like a year ago, and those are the Effie mittens by Ellie of Skandir. This is going to be a very Skandir heavy episode, by the way. And you guys, how pretty are these? So the pattern is actually for a full mitten, so it will have this chart basically twice. And have like a proper mitten, but I don't really wear proper mittens a lot. I tend to wear a lot of fingerless mittens because I'm just always on my phone, or I'm paying, or I'm running errands, and I need to grab stuff out of my wallet, and all of that is very difficult with proper mittens. So for me, I just love fingerless mitts. So what I did is I essentially followed the pattern. I even wrote in my project pages until what row I did the pattern and then what I did next, but essentially I just added some ribbing at the top and also for the thumb, and now I have a beautiful fingerless mitt, and oh my gosh, I love these so much. I think this may be one of my favorite ever colorwork charts. It's just so beautiful. And also down here, there's a Latvian braid, and I've never done Latvian braids, and they take forever. I'm not a huge fan of doing them. I'm gonna be quite honest, but they look so beautiful. Like, how beautiful and finished does this look? So I just pretty much love everything about this mitten. Knit this in about 2 days. So then, in order not to get second mitten syndrome, I cast on the second one yesterday. And I'm just about to start the Latvian braid, and then once I've done that, I think it'll go quite quickly because the actual color work is very fast. I just thought the Latvian braid slowed me down quite a bit. It's not even hard, it's just fiddly, and I don't like fiddly stuff. But I love these mittens, and I'm so excited for me to have these actually, because you may remember I've knit quite a few fingerless mittens in the past, most of them actually being Skandir patterns as well. But what are they called? I think I knit the Spunny mittens by her, also in a Rauma yarn, and also fingerless, and then Kai stole them. He just tends to steal all of my mittens now, so I don't actually have any of my own. So these will be my pair, and he will not get them, and I love it. I love it so much. I'm sorry, I'm just waffling on about these, but it's just so beautiful. It hasn't been even blocked yet, but it still looks amazing just because the yarn it just lends itself to color work. And that yarn is by Rauma. It's their lamb's wool. And this is actually my first time knitting with it. It's just a tiny bit thinner than their finu, and it's a lamb's wool. And I really love it. I got this during my first Oslo trip as well, and I only got these two 50-gram balls. But this is a yarn that I could see myself getting more of in the future, and possibly knitting a sweater, because it's just a tiny bit lighter than the finu, which I personally really like. And it's possibly a little bit softer. It's still not a soft yarn. It's a rustic, non-superwash, proper wool. But I really love it, and I also really seriously love this color combination. I'm just all about the reds and burgundies at the moment. It doesn't work with my sweater, but yeah. So yeah, that is that. That is my first work in progress, the Effie mittens by Ellie of Skandir, and I'm using 2.5 millimeter needles throughout the entire mitten. So I'm not going down a needle size, which is what you're supposed to do, just because I do whatever I want. Sorry, I had to pause again because there was this little blip on my screen, and I was already pretty sure that it was just on my screen and not actually in the video, but I was just thinking it would annoy me so much if I had something wrong with the entire video in the end and I wouldn't realize, so I had to stop once again. Anyways, let's keep on moving with those whips, and I need to talk less about each, otherwise we will never get finished. In here is a shawl that I didn't show you last week because I spent the week before that literally just taking back. But this is the Shake It Up shawl by Anna Johanna on Ravelry. And it's a 3-color shawl knit on the bias with, it's asymmetrical, I should say. And I'm showing you the back. It has 3 colors of yarn and all kinds of different textures, and it's just a really fun knit that I cast on pretty spontaneously about 2 weeks ago, and I'm just knitting on it every now and then. So you can see this is where I was last time I showed this to you. I was in the middle of this brioche section here, and that's what I had to take back a couple of times, not because it is difficult, but just because I was on the phone waffling on to my sister and forgot some increases. But it is all fixed now. I got through the brioche, I did the next garter section, and I have done the final lace bit. And I originally thought that this lace part would take me forever, but it really didn't. It went really quickly, so now I think I have a little bit more increasing to do, and pretty soon I'm going to start decreasing as well. So it's the rows aren't going to get much longer anymore. So I just wanted to show that to you pretty quickly, not super significant progress, but progress is being made. And to just quickly run through the 3 yarns that I am using. This one is Malabrigo Sock in the Anniversario colorway. This one is from Lakshmi's Dreams. I think they sell on Etsy. I got their yarn on a German yarn festival in their pearl sock in their New York colorway. And the last one is a Knit Picks yarn, even though I'm showing you a Malabrigo label. This is Knit Picks Hawthorn in the Kenton colorway. And yeah, these were just all in my stash, and I decided to just stash bust and put some colors together, and yeah, it's pretty out there. It's not my usual color scheme. I feel like I'm going more and more into like autumnal shades, which are usually not my shades. But yeah, I really like it. I am in no rush to finish these. There are other projects that I'm working on right now that are making me happier than this, but I think it will be a good sized shawl. I just hope it will be big enough, because I did go down a needle size, and I think I just like bigger shawls these days. But of course, I won't really be able to tell until I'm finished and blocked and all of that. So I think it should be fine, because it's 3 skeins of yarn, so realistically it should be a big shawl. We will see. So that is my shawl, and I am vaguely aware that I'm messing up my entire apartment now after just cleaning it for my tenants, but we will worry about that later, / you don't have to worry about that at all. That is my problem. Next up, you guys, I have been working on my Otra sweater, and I talked about this in detail last week, about the fact that I didn't really, or my gauge didn't really work out, and I was kind of stressed and nervous about trying it on, because I thought maybe it doesn't fit. And because I had already sticked it, there would have been no way of going back, really. And it just sat in my bag for a while after I last recorded, and then I think some of you viewers were getting stressed out as well, and some of you were like, try it on, Julia, make it happen and see what happens. And so I was brave and I tried it on, and guess what, it fits just fine. So now that I know that it fits, I'm actually motivated to work on it again. So let's see, let's try to show you the front, not that it matters. But this is where we are. So this is the Otra. It's another pattern by Ellie of Scandia Knits. One of her very, very recent ones. It's a top-down colorwork sweater with steeks for the armholes. So you can see I've done both steeks, and I've started both arms, or both sleeves I should say. And now that I know it fits, I've been knitting on the body and just pulling through and pushing through the stockinette. And you can see I've done about almost 4 inches, I think, of stockinette, most of which I did last night. So I'm very happy with this, and I'm liking it more and more. Like I said last week, I was quite worried about the fit and also about the color. I wasn't sure if it was going to suit me. And you know what? I think it suits me. I think it's just fine. And I'm getting very excited about having this done, especially because I know this is one of my favorite yarns, and it's going to be so soft once I wash it. So just knowing that, I am definitely excited about this now. And there's just so much heatheredness, even almost like tweedy bits in this yarn. I'm not sure if you can tell. There are so many different colors, and it's just so beautiful. Like, it is subtle, but I really, really love this effect of these little blips of like orange popping through. Yeah, I just really love it, and I definitely got my mojo back with this one. The yarn is by Garnet Zalk, which is a Danish yarn brand, and this is their Black Hill soft wool. So as I mentioned before, you can get 100-gram cakes for very little money, and it is not washed, and it doesn't look like this. It looks like this, basically like the cakes that you get from Holst. Whereas you can also get more colors in a 50-gram ball, and they have been treated and washed, so it's a little bit softer. But once I wash the sweater, it'll be all the same. So that is my Otra sweater. Next up, let's keep talking about sweaters, because yes, I also gave back my needles to my second sweater that I'm knitting right now, which is my red robin sweater. I'm calling it robin sweater very carefully because essentially I just used the cast on numbers and part of the increases and then just did my own thing with this sweater. So really it's just a top-down sweater with the neckline of the robin sweater, which is a pattern by Jose Paca. This is what it looks like. And you guys, I finished the body. So you can see the stitch marker is where I was when I last showed it to you about 2 weeks ago. And yes, it is totally blowing out the camera, but the body is done. And once again, I didn't follow these instructions in the pattern. So the pattern has like a high-low hem, so it's very short in the front and long in the back. And I did do short rows, but I did the opposite. I kind of made it lower in the back than in the front, but I made it like a dip, so it goes like this. So if I show you the side seam, not sure if you can tell, but it goes up on the sides and then it goes lower both in the front and the back. So I did some short rows, some of them in the stockinette, and then for the back I also did short rows in the ribbing. So the ribbing in the back is also longer than the ribbing in the front. And we'll just hope that this fits. We really have no idea, but I think it should be fine. So all I need to do now is find the needles for the sleeves, because I do kind of want to knit these on the little circular needles, and start knitting the sleeves. So this is supposed to be done for Christmas. I'm not really worried about it, especially because I'm not even sure if I'm going to do full-length sleeves. This is I don't know, I think it's going to be more like a Christmas top, so I may just do sleeves just beyond the elbow maybe, and it'll be like a nice light top, or light sweater I should say, to wear. So yeah, very, very happy with this. This is the second time I'm showing it to you without any needles attached to it, but I am making progress. And the yarn that I am using is Madeline Tosh Merino Light in the Blood Runs Cold colorway. I have 3 skeins and I've been alternating skeins, but I haven't decided whether I'm going to alternate for the sleeves. I definitely don't want to, but I think it may be the best decision to do. So I will definitely be alternating when I start the sleeves, to also make sure I don't get a line from where I separated for the sleeves to where I start the sleeves again, but I may not alternate throughout the entire sleeves. I'm not sure yet. So that is that. And then, of course, we also have some sock projects, all of which you've seen before. So first up, I'm still knitting on my Felici 2 at a time socks. These are knit of Knit Picks Felici in their Ever After colorway. And I'm knitting them I'm knitting them cuff down 2 at a time. So this is what they're looking like right now. I made them to match, as you can tell, and I knit pretty long legs. I knit these with my usual 3x1 rib, so I do knit 3, purl 1, and it just creates this really nice, slightly stretchier texture. And since I last spoke to you, I have turned both the heels, so I put in Fish Lips Kiss heels, and now I just need to knit the feet. Besides that, nothing super interesting to write home about. These are just 2 at a time, 64 stitches on a US size 1 or a 2.25 millimeter needle. So that is that. And then I have also been working quite a bit on Kai's Christmas socks. Oops, this is a mess. These are socks that I'm knitting for him out of a yarn by Wollmeise. This is Wollmeise Twin in the Dani colorway, D-A-N-I actually. So this is it. And I think I had the first sock done last time I showed this to you, so this is the first one. And I don't have it on a sock blocker because his feet are bigger than my sock blockers. But again, I did a 3x1 rib throughout the leg and also on top of the foot of the sock. And I really, really love this pooling. And I have since finished the leg of the second sock, and I just turned the heel, which is another Fish Lips Kiss heel, last night. So again, I just need to knit down the foot, and then this Christmas knit will be done. Yeah, so that is it in terms of my knitting that I'm doing right now. After this, I only really have one more pair of socks that I need to knit for Christmas. That is a pair of very small, what are they called? What are they called? I know it's a free pattern. It was really popular. I think, oh yeah, the Mercury socks. Because my sister, she really wants another pair of those. She got the first pair of Mercury socks that I've ever knit, so I need to make her another one. And then any and all other gift knits that I do after that will just be if I really want to, but I don't have to. So that's a really good feeling. Talking about gift knitting, you may remember that I knit the hat for Kai. I knit him a hat out of Woolfolk Snow, or Snö, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. And a lot of you guys were just so amused by the fact that I was so worried that he wouldn't like it, because he is the most perfectionist hat receiver ever. And if the hat is not perfect, he will not wear it. And it was his birthday last week, and I gave him the hat, and he loves it. So I'm just so happy about that. He actually sent me a photo from work on his birthday with his hat, and he was like, "It feels like I'm wearing a cloud on my ears." And yes, that's exactly what that yarn feels like, and I was just so happy. I'm just so over the moon that he likes his hat. And then we went out with some of his workmates on Thursday to celebrate his birthday. And everyone was feeling his hat, and they're like, "Oh, it's so soft, it's so soft, it's such a nice hat." And so that was a definite win, and I'm just very happy about that. So yeah, that is what I'm working on and what I have been working on these days. I have plenty of other things that I want to cast on, of course. I just have all the knitting mojo right now, and I also have the privilege of having a bit more time in the day to knit. So that's been really fun, and that's also why I've just been kind of letting myself cast on all the things and not really caring, because right now I'm also powering through projects relatively quickly. So, for example, these socks, both of the socks, I should have done pretty quickly if I just sat down and finished them. The mittens I can have done in a day if I really try. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty happy with my knitting right now. So, I have a little bit of acquisitions to show you. First up, I have a massive gift that a friend and viewer of the podcast sent to me. I'm not going to mention her name because I'm not sure if she wants that to happen, but you know who you are, and thank you so much. Essentially, she just had some yarn that she knew that I was going to love it, and she doesn't have time to knit with it, so she offered to send it to me. And I was like, well, thank you. Yes, I would love that, especially because it is a yarn that I've been wanting to try for such a long time, and that is blacker yarns. I've never knit with any of the blacker yarns. They look amazing. They feel amazing. I've seen some of it in stores and stuff. And I feel like it's a very dangerous rabbit hole for me to go down because I'm pretty sure I will love their yarn. So I was so happy when she sent this to me. This is Blacker Classic British wool. So let's see. I know it has 30% blue faced Leicester. I'm not sure what the other wool in here is. But she sent me, I think, 8 of these 50-gram balls in this purple colorway, which is called Purple. Very, very creative name. And she also sent me 2 balls of this colorway, which is called Natural Fleece Color Gray. So it's amazing. It's beautiful yarn. I'm not sure if you can see. It's slightly heathered. It looks stunning. It's a DK weight. Actually, it's not. I thought it was a DK weight, but it's not. It says 4-ply right here, and it's 175 meters per 50 grams. So that's arguably either a heavy fingering or a light sport weight. And it's beautiful. It's rustic. It's kind of scratchy, but I love it. I love it so much. So thank you so much for such a generous gift. I feel like I got fluff up my nose because I'm suddenly feeling all itchy and scratchy, and I'm not sure what happens. Maybe I shouldn't put my face into yarn all the time. I mean, maybe that would help. One last acquisition that I have was something that when I saw it, I couldn't not get it, and that is a collaboration with yarn from a friend of mine who is Daniel, who has this German yarn brand. I've kind of been talking to him for a little bit, and we've been kind of following each other, I think, for quite a while. And he has a lot of like German 100% German yarn, and it's really like natural ecological wool, and I really, really like it. I'm not sure if he does much selling overseas and all of that, so you will just have to check that out yourself if you're interested. But he did a collaboration with a designer who I'm pretty sure is Ducati. I'm not so sure about the details because, believe it or not, I'm not very much in the German knitting scene, and I don't really know what's going on with like German designers and German knitting podcasts and all of that. I kind of am not in the loop there. But they came out with this knitting pattern called Speedy. Again, I'm pretty sure it's only available as a kit in German, but she does have the instructions on Ravelry also for sale in English, I believe. And this is the mittens. And they're just so cute, aren't they? Like, this was all over German knitting Instagram, basically, and it just looked so adorable. These mittens, they're knit out of a very thick German yarn. So they go super fast, hence the name Speedy. And I just decided to get a kit because I wanted to support Daniel, and also because it's just such a cool idea. So you had the choice of, I think, like 5 or 6 different shades of natural yarn, and I went with this beigey brown. So I got the printed pattern and the yarn, which is 100% German merino. And when you say merino, you always expect this super soft yarn, but German merino doesn't tend to be super soft. It's more like a woolly yarn. And I really, really love it. It's all made in Germany. And this is their 3-ply base, which has 180 meters per 100 grams. So these mittens should knit up super quickly. And again, this could be like a gift thing because I have a couple of other skeins of Daniel's yarn already in my stash, all like single skeins. So if I do enjoy knitting these, who knows, maybe I'll just bang out like 3 or 4 pairs and give them as gifts as well. Or maybe I will keep them for myself. I'm not sure. This would go very nicely with both my coat and my recently finished Kyler shawl. So it could be a good sort of natural set, but we will see. I just really wanted to get this, and I think I may not even put this in my stash. I may just cake that up later and then just knit it up pretty soon. This will actually be the first time in years that I'm knitting from a German knitting pattern. So that should be interesting because, believe it or not, I don't really know much of German terminology when it comes to knitting. I mean, I know the basics, but I'm just so intertwined with the English-speaking knitting community and Ravelry and all of that, that even when I knit from German designers who have German language patterns, I will always, always, always get the English copy. So that could be interesting, but I mean, learning something new is not a bad idea. And this is just a really nice printed pattern. Like, I don't want to give anything away, but hang on, how can we do this? I don't want to show you the chart, but it has like the chart in here and it's just done really well. So I thought I might as well get the kit. And yeah. So that is it in terms of what's been arriving in the mail. Not to say that there will be more yarn arriving, which, oh my gosh. But I have also been destashing, so I'm trying not to feel too bad about it. I've also sold one of my spinning wheels, which is just sadly waiting to be picked up and looking at me very, very accusingly. So that is going. I've sold my Woolmaker's Bliss, which is my proper wheel with a single treadle. And for now, I am keeping my Ashford e-spinner. Right now, I'm not really into spinning much, and I'm not really enjoying my spinning setup, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do in the future. But for now, I just decided to let one wheel go, let it go to someone who will appreciate it and where it doesn't just stand around and gets oiled every now and then. So yeah, I feel like I have enough yarn to last me a lifetime, but I am more careful as to what I want to keep, what I want to give away, what I want to sell, and yeah, so that is that. Yeah, what else can I talk to you guys about? I feel like I rushed through this possibly. It was just a lot of stuff to cover, and at the same time, I'm watching the clock and knowing that we have like people coming and I need to clean up all the yarn around me. So I'm sorry if this was a bit of a more full-on episode, but as usual, like I said, you can always just look everything up, and I promise you there have been other episodes where I had nothing to talk about and I still waffled on for a very long time. So if that's more your jam, then there are plenty of episodes for you to watch. Yeah, so what has been happening in terms of life in general? Really not a whole lot. I'm still enjoying, like I said, the Christmas spirit. So we went to the Christmas markets for the first time last week, even though that was a bit of a fail because our local Christmas market is it's never been the nicest one, but now it's basically just half the size it used to be, but double the price. So we will be looking for a new sort of local Christmas market. Obviously, there are a ton of different ones in Munich, but that was just the one that was always very easy to get to after work. But I think we will have to tour Munich a little bit more and find a new favorite Christmas market to just hang out after work. We celebrated birthday both with his parents, who came down for a day and had dinner with us, which was really, really lovely. And then again, a couple of days later, with a couple of his friends, which was also very fun. Um, I did my annual baking session because I never bake. I love cooking, but I hate baking. Once a year, I need to bake Kai a birthday cake. So I did my wifely duties, and I'm just so happy that I don't have to bake again until next year. I don't know. People find it so amusing that I love cooking, but I hate baking. But I think for me, baking and cooking is like knitting and sewing. So with cooking, you can try stuff and you can add things and you can be like inspiration strikes and you just throw stuff together. And if you kind of know what you're doing, it's super easy and then you can adjust it like knitting. Like if you made something too big, you can just do some decreases and you can fix it and you can do different things if you know what you're doing. Whereas baking to me is like sewing. Like you need to be completely accurate about everything and need to follow a pattern or a recipe to the T, and then you just hope for the best. And for me, it never works out. So I'm not sure if anyone gets that comparison, but that's what it's like for me, which is also why I don't like sewing. I have a sewing machine, but sewing is way too perfectionist for me, and I don't like it. I love other people sewing. I actually always watch the sewing segments of other podcasters. Like, I find it interesting. I find it fascinating. It's just not my jam, just as baking isn't. But I love eating baked things. Anyways, so that's what's been happening this week. This weekend is going to be pretty relaxed. Like I said, we have some errands to run today. I'm also planning to brave the city on a Saturday. I know it's going to be crazy. Kai is definitely not coming, but I do want to do some Christmas shopping. And maybe I'll even take my knitting and go to my favorite coffee shop and just do some knitting. Who knows? And then we have no real plans for tomorrow, except that I am hoping for snow, but I don't think it's going to happen. And of course, knit all the things, right? I mean, it's knitting season. So yeah, that is what's going on here. I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. Again, sorry if it was a little bit, I don't know, all over the place. I feel like I didn't go into this with a clear-cut plan, but oh well. Anyways, I hope that you have lots of knitting mojo and yarn and knitting and crochet and anything crafty you like to do around you as well. If not, maybe I may have managed to give you some mojo. I really love knitting podcasts just for that. Like, whenever I don't feel like knitting, I'll just watch a couple of knitting podcasts and then I will inevitably cast something on or buy some yarn. So until I see you again, which will pretty likely be next week, thank you so much for watching as per usual. I will see you very soon, and until then, I just hope you have a nice weekend with lots of knitting time. Happy knitting, see you soon, bye!